purchases required.
Courtesy of Jaguars.com. It's 81 degrees at 12 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dawes. Hey!
This is Helmets and Heels
On 1010XL, switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
I feel like the Jaguars can take another victory lap around the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as the Jags hired 29-year-old Grant Udinski, who was sought after by the Texans, the Seahawks, and the Bucs. So throw the Texans in there as well for a Jags victory lap. To me, the most fascinating thing about him, well, a couple things. One, it's been said that he has a photographic memory. I find that always super interesting. But moreover, J.J. McCarthy said he should be in a Dos Equis commercial because he's the most interesting man in the world. Look, this is a bright, young, very young, obviously 29, but bright young mind in the football world. I'm excited that the Jaguars have a new offensive coordinator, even if he's not calling the plays. I think he's a huge addition to this offensive staff.
RJ, if we may, I already had this planned before the yet another 11:30 p.m. news drop from the Jaguars. So let's imagine something here for a second to quell the panic of those in Duval County.
Imagine with Closets by Design.
Imagine your home totally organized.
In case you missed it, my new walk-in closet is beautiful, folks. I'm going to be posting actually a reel here in the next 24 hours or so. So make sure you go and get yours and contact 1-800, I don't have their number, Closets by Design, closetsbydesign.com. Make sure you visit our friends, locally owned and operated here in Jacksonville. So many folks, Lauren and Taylor, were concerned when our friend Aaron Wilson of KPRC in Houston reported that Nate Shieldhouse, the Rams pass game specialist, was the front runner for the Jags job as the OC. And then, yesterday afternoon, Nate Shieldhouse announced he would be staying, or rather, it was reported that he would be staying and taking on an enhanced role with the Los Angeles Rams. Now, why is that interesting? That's interesting because Aaron Wilson's report came out on Sunday. On Monday, Nick Caley, the passing game coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams, took the offensive coordinator position, which is a play-calling offensive coordinator position with the Houston Texans. And so what I want you all to imagine here is that Liam Cohen is playing Tetris right now, right? And it's not just within his entire staff, but also the finalists that he has for each position. Nate Shieldhouse very well could have been his first choice. But passing game coordinator under Sean McVay, a Super Bowl winning coach, a non-play calling OC under a first-time head coach. The situations are very different, but I would argue the position kind of similar, right? And so I am not faulting Nate Shieldhouse if he was indeed the front runner and he opted for that. And I am certainly not faulting Grant Udinski for saying, I'm going to wait it out and see. Because there also were plenty of rumors floating around there that if and when the New Orleans Saints hire Kellen Moore next week, then there will be an opening there for their OC. And could Grant Udinski, a native of the Philadelphia area, potentially be interested in going home to coach for the Eagles? I credit Liam Cohen for saying, you know what, we're not even going to let you have that opportunity. And I credit Grant Udinski because, as Bobby Slowick is proof of, take the job you're offered now because you don't know. Even if you bet on yourself, which we love betting on ourselves in sports in 2025, you don't know that that next opportunity will actually be there.
You also don't know if maybe one day Liam Cohen's not going to call plays and you can take that over. For the here and now, we know Liam's calling the plays for this season. But in 3 years, maybe that changes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that for Grant Udinski, it's one of this. I love this. I love this hire. I think that when you go back and you see what's happened in Minnesota and the time that he's been there and what he's been able to do with Sam Darnold, and it's obviously not just him. There was a lot of hands on Sam Darnold in that Minnesota offense, including Kevin O'Connell, who we've argued as being like one of the better coaches and coach of the year potential this season. And so I do think that that is somebody that not only are you bringing in an experience with kind of having to fix a quarterback and develop some pieces that may have been hurt by wrong development in the past, him having his hands on that. And from what I have seen / heard from Minnesota people, he was a part of that. He was directly connected to some of Sam Darnold's advancements in this last season. So that definitely is something that sticks out to me, because I think at the start of this season, everybody, I don't think they were completely counting Minnesota out of everything, just because they did have a lot of other pieces all over the place. And when you have a Justin Jefferson, that makes a lot of quarterbacks' jobs a lot easier. But I do think that a lot of people were like, Sam Darnold, like, okay, we'll see J.J. McCarthy by week 9. And then McCarthy gets hurt, and there was a lot of questions of what was going to happen beyond that. And we saw Sam Darnold have obviously a career year, but not just a career year, battling some of the better quarterbacks in the league when it comes to completion percentage, yards, touchdowns, all of those numbers. And so somebody like this who has that experience, like I said, of seeing a guy who was thrown out of other organizations and felt like he was just to the point where there was an unfixable, and him being able to bring him to the level Sam did, that to me is a major shining factor in this.
And Kirk Cousins before that.
Yes.
And then Cousins got hurt, and Josh Dobbs comes in, and Udinski is credited with a lot of the success that he had as well.
I will credit our heel again, my good friend Phil Pruse, for this one. Jacksonville Jaguars fans, you now have the two coaches that fixed the two quarterbacks that the Carolina Panthers could not.
Yeah. Yes.
How does that make you feel? Turn them both into Pro Bowlers, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we can talk.
Brandon Baker was already kind of being fixed the year before, but he just took him to a different
Ironically,
level.
by the Panthers head
Head
coach.
yeah.
Ironically enough.
Yeah, we can talk for 2 hours about Trevor Lawrence and how different he is than Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield and what Liam Cohen's getting, but we've got time for that. For the here and now, the Jaguars are getting a guy that was a part of, to your point, Taylor, a Vikings offense that was in the top 10 in lots of categories, and is certainly seen to be someone who is totally devoted to football. And at 29, I suppose when he's not climbing, hiking out in Norway and Russia and Colorado, when he's not doing that, it doesn't seem like he's doing anything other than thinking about football, talking about football.
I'll take it one step further, Lauren, and I credit this to Stats and Info, a.k.a. Kevin. The first week that Grant Udinski was a GA at Baylor, he lived in his car because he didn't want to make a scene. He didn't want anyone to know.
That's a little bit more of a
He didn't want anyone to know he didn't have an apartment yet, and so he didn't want to have to worry about a hotel paying for it. So he lived out of his car until a senior coach found out. And then said, you're going to come live with me and my family until we get you into a place to live.
That is Gardner Minshew-esque, for sure.
It's all ball, baby.
But yeah,
Shower
I mean,
at the facility.
That's what they say is he goes off the grid for his hiking, and then other than that, it's all football. And look, I think we would collectively say that's something that would help Trevor Lawrence, right? Being all football all the time.
Definitely.
And having especially that situational awareness. That comes from being a student of the game. And a couple other hires, Jeremy Fowler reported, this is Taylor's favorite of the day. Former Bears and Seahawks offensive coordinator Shane Waldron will be the passing game coordinator here. Coach Cohen does have experience with Waldron during their time with the Rams. And then also Ian Rappaport tweeted out that the Jaguars are hiring John Van Dam as pass game specialist. He was with the Bucs, but his contract expired. So again, another victory lap there for the Jags over the Bucs, that now Van Dam will be here in Jacksonville. But let's go back to Shane Waldron, Taylor, and we'll get to Jim Mora, by the way, in about 10 minutes, talk with him about the first coach, or a new coach here in Jacksonville, and being a first-time head coach. But Shane Waldron, the title's obviously different. He's not the offensive coordinator, but how do you feel about that one?
Yeah, it's so ironic because obviously the Press Taylor went to the Bears. So it's both coordinators flop spots and both became what they said reportedly should be passing game coordinators. It looks like what Shane Waldron will be here, which is what Press Taylor is in Chicago. And so I will take it as the same glance as I did that, as thank goodness it's not a play caller and honestly even an offensive coordinator role, because to me I would be furious at both organizations if they did that. But Shane Waldron, I am not a fan of whatsoever. He could barely make it through a half a season in Chicago with all of the weapons that they brought in, and there was a lot of things that went wrong. And what scares me the most about Waldron is I've heard absolute horror stories of how his relationship was with Caleb and how he treated Caleb in certain situations, like to the point where Caleb had to go outside of the Bears organization and hire his own person to help him go over film because Shane Waldron was not working with Caleb in that sense. And they were talking about somebody used the word intimidated. He was intimidated by Caleb Williams, and that made him like standoffish. And it was a really weird dynamic. I don't know if that's immaturity. I don't know if it was like a more personal thing, but it's not just here, because you go back and there was a clip of the last year at the Super Bowl, actually, when they were talking to Jackson Smith and Jigba, and everybody kind of thought Jackson Smith was being exaggerative. Do you have that clip, by the way, RJ? He does have it, so I'll play that in a minute. But people kind of thought, like, oh, is he being kind of over the top because it was a situation where he didn't get the ball as much as he wanted, and because you had a Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf and all of these things in Seattle, and was that the issue? Or now looking back, it was beyond that. Shane Waldron doesn't seem like he meshes with some of these guys very well, and his play calling is terrible. So like I said, good thing it is not to that point here. But I also just do think that there's been a lot of issues. And then you even go back to the Rams, and I joked about it a few weeks ago, Mia, where I was like, the one branch you don't want off the Sean McVay tree is Shane Waldron, and it's here.
But it's a lower role. Or
it
lesser
is.
Role to your
It
point.
is. But he was that role in
He also brought
with the
Liam
Rams.
into the league. He was always coming. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Well,
sorry,
and that's why there
folks.
was rumors about it, but that doesn't make it. I like it. That doesn't
Absolutely.
mean
And
we like
that's
it.
what- it's always good to get people's
Because you know
thoughts.
your buddy doesn't mean you have to hire him.
Right. And always, too, we tend to be optimistic about the future in our roles normally because there's newness, because there's not Trent Baalke here anymore,
Yeah.
right? So you get excited about what can be coming down the pipeline here in Jacksonville. But it's good sometimes to say not every hire is going to be one that we're thrilled about. All right. On the other side, Jim Mora awaits former NFL head coach. We will check in with him. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
1010XL's Dan Hicken dominated Folio Weekly's Best of 2024. Best TV sports anchor, Dan Hicken. Best radio sports anchor, Dan Hicken. Best radio sports show starring Dan Hicken. 1010XL, the home of Dan Hicken.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
It's New Year's resolution time, so why not skip the guilt and do something you'll actually stick to? Mia here for my friends at Duck Duck Rooter. How about fixing that leaky faucet, unclogging that drain, or getting that AC ready for the summer? Duck Duck Rooter is here to help you keep this resolution. Call 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com. Invest in your home and start the year off right. Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ever wonder how you can transform your living spaces into captivating works of art? At First Coast Lighting and Fans, they offer a huge selection of high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness. Visit their showroom on Phillips Highway at the Avenues and step into a world of quality without compromise. Discover the difference that locally owned expertise makes and let them help you experience the transformation from average to extraordinary. At First Coast Lighting and Fans.
The Jacksonville Icemen are back home Friday and Saturday night as they battle the Trois Rivières Lions. Friday's game is Cancer Awareness Night, presented by Liberty Landscape. Come support the Icemen as they fight to stick it to cancer. Saturday, bring your dog to the game for Pox and Paws Night, presented by Forever Vets Animal Hospital. 7 o'clock at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena. Tickets at Ticketmaster, JacksIcemen.com, or call 904-602-POP. Iceman Hockey is #Frozen Frenzy.
Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, congratulating our Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Ben Krause, senior captain of the varsity basketball team at Paxton High, was a member of the all-academic team last year. Ben is an AP scholar with honors in foreign languages and world history.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey ham, melted cheddar and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Mia here for MyBookie. It's finally here. A game so big we're not even supposed to say the name, where the Kansas City Chiefs take on the Philadelphia Eagles at the Caesars Superdome. This isn't just the biggest game of the year, it's the ultimate betting event. If you are not on MyBookie, you are missing out on the action. Big game betting with MyBookie goes beyond just picking the winner. We've got all the wild props for this epic showdown. Will it be heads or tails for the coin toss? What color will the Gatorade for the drenching of the winning coach be? Even the length of the national anthem are up for bets at MyBookie. They love giving you options to bet on everything. Make it easy to win and even easier to get paid with MyBookie, whether you deposit with crypto or credit. Bonuses await. And our new loyalty program gives you cash back just for playing. Bet on big game boosted parlays, live betting, and jackpots that can turn small bets into big wins. Why just watch when you can own the big game? Sign up with MyBookie now using promo code 1010XL and get your 50% sign-up bonus to kick things off. Bet anything, anytime, from anywhere with MyBookie.
Taylor Dahl here. Get your mammogram on the Buddy Bus Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 2 at the showroom of Renewal by Anderson Beach in San Pablo. Reserve your spot by calling 904-202-2499. 904-202-2499.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. Around this time last year, I was celebrating. Why? Because I had reached my goal of dropping 40 pounds with Awaken 180. It felt great. We all set goals, but most times we don't have a plan to hit them, so it's not really a goal. I'd call it more of a wish, and we know how that saying goes. With Awaken 180, I didn't wish the weight away. I had a plan, and this time I knew I'd reach my goal, and I did it. 40 pounds gone in just 2 months. Simple. That was a year ago, and I haven't put on a pound. How do I feel? Like $1,000,000. Like the horizon line that looked so far away all those years is now right in front of me, and it's a brand new day, and it's time to seize it. Night and day from where I felt carrying around all that weight, having to untuck my shirts, winded trying to tie my shoes. If you're overweight, you know what I mean. Set your goal and know you'll reach it with the solution for weight loss. Call 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
3D Digital has you covered for any of your business's digital marketing needs. From producing award-winning videos to getting those digital ads to follow your customers around the internet, our team has your back. Visit 3ddigital.com or give us a call at 904-712-4004 to schedule a free consultation today. 904-712-4004.
Guys, Valentine's Day is coming. Don't run out of time. Jacksonville Flower Market on Beach and Southside has fresh, beautiful flowers she'll love. Mention radio to get 10% off. They'll even customize the bouquet so it's unique to her. Jacksonville Flower Market on Beach and Southside.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. And we're excited to be joined by our first guest today, Jim Mora, former USFL and NFL head coach. Jim, thanks so much for taking a few minutes to spend with us today.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. It's my pleasure.
Well, the first thing I want to ask you, since we do have a new head coach here, he's a first-time head coach, and he's under the age of 40, would be Liam Cohen. How exactly does Liam get these other young people around him, the staff built? Like, what does he look for in these guys as far as when he's hiring his staff?
Well, that's a good question. I went through that when I got the head coaching job in the USFL a long time ago, and I just got lucky with some of them. But I checked to see what kind of people they were, what kind of coaches they were, and how anxious were they to join the team as a member of our coaching staff. So it's really important to have a good staff. If you don't have a good coaching staff, one that can work together, that like each other, that are hard workers, that do a good job, then you're going to have trouble winning. So hopefully, as he hires his staff, he's going to pick those kind of people that are going to help him win.
Jim, the dynamic between college and the NFL is rather fascinating in terms of the idea of, guys don't want to recruit, so they go to the NFL. And now it's like, maybe I do want to go to college because maybe there isn't as much recruiting because there are recruiting staffs. We do know at this juncture that many of the hires that Liam Cohen has made, including himself, have spent time in the college ranks. How did coaching in college first prepare you for professional football?
Well, it prepares you. I mean, there's a difference. But, right now the college situation is not good. My son, one of my sons, but my oldest son, Jim, is the head basketball, the head football coach at UConn, University of Connecticut, and where is it? Somewhere in Connecticut. But
Stores,
anyway,
yes, you are correct.
Now they are paying. Their players are getting paid thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, some millions of dollars. So it's a different situation. It's almost like a professional team now within the college ranks. So, and I don't like what's happening there. But from a standpoint of dealing with money that you're being paid to play, there's not much difference between the NFL and collegiate. The NFL's better. The NFL has restrictions. They have rules. They have, how much you can spend on players, that kind of thing. This thing in college football now is not like that, and I think there's a problem. I think they got to do some fixing and figure out a way to make it a little bit better than it is right now, because right now it's not good.
Jim, when we talk about the power structure in the NFL, each organization does a little bit different. They have different titles. They have, whether it's an owner and a GM and an assistant GM and EVPs now thrown in. In your experience, what has worked best? Because what we've heard now from here in Jacksonville is what they will do is both the general manager, when he is hired, and Liam Cohen, and then new EVP and Tony Baselli will all report straight to Shad Khan, the owner. In your experience, what has worked best for you? What kind of seems the best flow in the NFL when it comes to that?
Okay, well, I was very fortunate in both of my NFL occasions with the New Orleans Saints and then with the Indianapolis Colts. And it starts with the owner. If you don't have a good owner, you got a problem. If you got an owner that doesn't know much about of having a football team, or what do you need to have success with that football team, then you got problems. The next guy down is the general manager. If you've got a good general manager, that's going to make a big difference too. And here again, you want a guy that can help this team win. Can spend money on good players, make sure they're good players, proven players, hire a good coaching staff. All that kind of stuff comes from the owner first and the general manager second. Some NFL teams do not have owners that are, I think, really, really involved. They want to win. Yeah, they're going to hire a good general manager. Yeah, okay, but I'm not really. This isn't my business. And the ones that have an owner, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they've had their ownership for years and years and years, and they're a consistently good playoff caliber team in the NFL. And I think that makes a big difference. And now, again, though, you still have to hire a good head coach, because that's going to make a huge difference too. So whoever hires that head coach has to know what the hell he's talking about too, to make sure he gets a good one. And I'm not so sure that this is necessarily true in the NFL at this time. But I think as a head coach, if you're getting a job, just because it's a head coaching job, that's not the main thing. The main thing is the people you work with, the people you work for, and what your responsibility is as a head coach. All those kind of things are very important. And when I had that situation, both with the Saints and the Colts, I was very fortunate, and that made a big difference in our success.
Jim Mora, our guest. Jim, since you mentioned the Colts, you were the head coach there from 98 to 2001. A certain guy that played running back here for the Jaguars you faced quite a few times. Give us your thoughts on Fred Taylor, and does he belong in the Hall of Fame?
What now? Give me that again.
Sure. Fred Taylor. What are your thoughts on Freddie T?
Well, I don't know him. I really can't give a good indication of how I feel about this guy. I really don't know much about him. I don't recognize the name. I'm sorry, but I just don't. I can't follow every NFL team. It's tough.
Let's go to a name that I know you're familiar with, Jim, and that's Peyton Manning. Through the first 3-4 years of his career, you of course were his head coach. When it comes to quarterback development, are we too quick to judge? Are we too quick to say, "Hey, we gotta get the cane out and pull the quarterback out and say that he isn't made for the National Football League here in 2025 comparatively to years past"?
Well, I hope that if you select first of all, Peyton Manning grew up in New Orleans. I had known Peyton since he was a young kid. I'm very close friends with his dad, Peyton, Archie Manning. I know the Manning family because of my relationship coaching in New Orleans, and Peyton and his family living in New Orleans. And Peyton doesn't live there now; he lives in Denver. But he grew up in New Orleans, and I've known him since he was a little kid. And when I got the job in 1998 as the Indianapolis Colts head coach, we had the first pick in the draft, and there was a decision to make. We needed a quarterback, and it was either going to be Peyton or Ryan Leaf. And I've known Peyton forever. And there's a lot of things when you make a decision on a player, any player, but especially a quarterback as the first pick, you got to know more than just how good a player is. You got to know about what kind of person he is. How is he coachable? Does he a hard worker? Does he have a good attitude? Is he a team-oriented guy? These are all things that are important for any player on a team, but especially for a quarterback who's going to be the first pick, you're the first pick in the draft, and you're going to get him. So after we evaluating Peyton, and I knew him as a person. I knew his family as a person. I know where he comes from. But whatever, we selected Peyton, and it was the right pick. And he had a special, very, very special career, and he's still doing things with his life that are good and the right thing too. So that was a decision we made. We looked into both these guys. The people in our organization, the Colts, the general manager, the owner, et cetera, they didn't know Peyton like I knew Peyton. So I had to convince them, or not really that, but they had to make sure that they were making the right decision, not just what I told them because I knew Peyton since he was a kid, but is Peyton the kind of guy that's going to help us win championships and be a great player? And obviously at that 1998. We picked the right guy in Peyton.
In terms of his development, though, Jim, when he threw the most interceptions at the time of any rookie in NFL history, was there this sense of, oh, no, or was it a sense of, hey, it's going to take a couple of years, and maybe here in 2025, we're too quick to judge quarterbacks after just a 3 or 4 year sample size?
Well, no, because I could see right away that Peyton was the right kind of person that we wanted on our team, the right kind of leader that we wanted on our team, the right kind of player that we wanted on our team. Yes, well, he was a rookie, but we had a draft one weekend. The very next weekend, we had a little mini camp with the Colts, and brought in all our players and the rookies and the guys we've drafted, et cetera. And from day one, even though he was a rookie, he was going to be our starting quarterback. And he started and played every game his rookie season, every game. But as the season progressed, you could see the improvement, and he kept getting better and better and better. But the important thing was once you got him on your team as your starting quarterback, as a rookie, and is he the right guy? Is he the right talent? Is he the right person? Is he the right leader? Is he got the right work ethic? All these kind of things, and they were there with Peyton Manning. So you knew that you had somebody pretty darn good. Now his career was outstanding, but you could see all these traits as a rookie, and you needed a player. So we stuck him in there and went with him, and he played every down. And our record was 3-13, and the next year we were 13-3. So that made a big difference. And I think the fact that Peyton was able to play all those 16 games his rookie year, and then do the off season what he needed to do, the kind of work habit that he had, and the leadership qualities, that helped us become a 13-3 team rather than a 3-13 team. And Peyton Manning was a big part of that. And of course, that we made the right decision, obviously, and it turned out super.
Jim, when we're talking about Liam Cohen, before we let you go, because I know this first-time head coach in the NFL, he's obviously been an offensive coordinator at both the college level and the NFL level, and he's only called plays for the one season in Tampa Bay at the NFL level, and now taking over this head coaching role. If there's any advice that you could give to a new head coach coming into kind of taking over anything, would there be anything specific you would say to Liam Cohen?
Well, I think the important thing is to be yourself. don't try to be anything different than what you are. You've had success as an assistant coach, and now you're going to be a head coach. Be you. Work hard at it. Get yourself a new staff. Now, back when I coached, we only had like 12 or 13 coaches on a team. Now they got in the 20s on the staff. So I don't know how about dealing with those guys, but they're doing it. So, but I think just be yourself, work hard, and number one, get yourself some good players. Okay, get yourself some good players. I don't know the situation in Jacksonville as far as ownership, general manager, all that kind of stuff. That has a lot to do as far as the team is concerned. It's not all just coaching. And whether the relationship with an owner or a general manager or people like that, what that is, I don't know. I've always had a good situation with the two NFL teams I coached, and that made a big difference and helped us be successful. So I'm not familiar with the Jacksonville, what's happening down there now, why they haven't won, what's going to take to win. Is it just a new head coach? Who knows? Better get yourself some good players. And then hopefully that the relationship between the head coach, the general manager, and the owner is similar. They believe the same things, can work together, take advice, etc., and they'll be successful.
Jim, thank you so much. We certainly are hoping for a successful franchise moving forward. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
All right, there he goes. I'm guessing, by the way, that he didn't understand when I said Fred Taylor, because I'm sure that he knows, obviously, Fred E.T. But my guess is he didn't quite hear the question properly, and so maybe he was thinking of a current running back that maybe I was asking about. But yeah, we will continue the Jaguars conversation on the other side. It is Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Your home for the best Jags coverage.
We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
1010XL, Jacksonville Sports Radio, and 92.5 FM.
Value or flavor? Price or taste? Why choose when you can get both? With everyday deals at Sonny's. Right now, you can get the pork big deal for $10, the pork and rib combo for $12, and all you can eat ribs for just $19.99. Yep, you heard right. All your favorites are now available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue. Local pitmasters since '68.
Here since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made this process so easy. She came to my house, and one-on-one, we designed a walk-in closet that's not only beautiful, but incredibly functional for me and old Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 1-800-293-3744 or visit closetsbydesign.com. And take advantage of extended savings this month. Get 40% off and another 15% off with 18-month special financing. Closets by Design at 1-800-293-3744.
It's time to elevate your game night. Head to Best Bet, your premier destination for poker, card games, and hospitality. With locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine, we have a seat ready for you. Whether you're a seasoned poker player or just starting out, we have you covered with poker games of all limits and easy-to-learn games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em. And it's not just poker. With delicious dining, lively bars, and big screen events, there's something for everyone at Best Bet. Visit bestbetjacks.com to learn more. That's bestbetjacks.com and ante up for fun.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On February 6, 1958, future Baseball Hall of Fame outfielder Ted Williams becomes the highest paid player in the MLB, re-signing with the Boston Red Sox for $135,000.
Visit Monahan Jewelers now through Valentine's Day for savings on all GIA certified diamonds and discounts store-wide up to 40% off. And interest-free financing on all purchases. Certified diamonds, gemstones, engagement rings, diamond studs, designer brands. Monahan's has it all. We're not a chain store. We're your local family jeweler since 1977 with a world-class inventory of fine jewelry and diamonds and gemstones available in any size. Support your local family jeweler now through Valentine's with huge savings in our inventory. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Prosser here, still telling you about Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Lifetime Enclosures is keeping the sale going into February. Enclosures starting at only $89 a month, and if you get a complete enclosure done, you get free flooring. If you just need flooring, Lifetime Flooring is running a buy one room, get the second room free. Now offering floor coating for that garage or patio deck too. Give them a call or visit their showrooms just off Phillips Highway. Proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ready, aim, inspire at the 7th Annual Mackenzie Noel Wilson Foundation Clay Shoot, Thursday, February 20th at Jack's Clay Target Sports. Hi, I'm Paul Martinez, president of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida. We've got you covered. Ammo, carts, clays, delicious food, and amazing prizes. Whether you're a sharpshooter or just in it for fun, this event is for you. Support the important work of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida and Mackenzie's Camp Deep Pond. Sign up at bgcnf.org/events.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. No matter the weather, Triumph has an unbelievable selection of rides where you can get out and just enjoy the highway.
They do. The new Rocket is out with the new color schemes, the Tiger 1200, which has been revamped. These bikes are nice, gorgeous, and ready to ride.
And if you want to take a look at the selection, they can just roll into the showroom and see a full variety.
We've got them all in stock and ready to go.
So if you log on, cyclesofjacksonville.com, search the Triumph line, and then head into the showroom, you'll be impressed. Cycles of Jacksonville.
This is Dr. George Bari, inviting you to look online at bariorthopedics.com for the latest in medical advancements when it comes to getting you back to full joint health. After studying under Dr. James Andrews, I know proper diagnosis is the first key to treatment, and educating the patient is the fastest path to recovery. Whether it's chronic back pain, nagging arthritis, or necessary joint replacement, we're here to serve you in the best possible way. We are Bari Orthopedics, and online at bariorthopedics.com.
Find out more at bariorthopedics.com. That's BAHRI orthopedics.com.
Picking here for Bound 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bound 9. Visit Bound 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bound 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale Lighting, Fans, and Home Decor on 1010XL.
All right, let's reset the fact that the Jaguars do have a new offensive coordinator. That would be Grant Udinski. I have heard, by the way, 2 different pronunciations, Udinski and Udinski, on different videos that I watched. But either way.
Here we go again.
Yes, exactly. He, along with Anthony Campanile.
Can we get a Smith?
I know, right?
Can we get just a video of them pronouncing
Cohen, I feel like some people were pronouncing that kind of weird for a couple of weeks
they were
there
saying
too.
Cohen, I had heard that a few different times. And so, yeah, but either way, we don't care as long as they get their jobs right. We will work hard to get the pronunciation right. But hey, if they bring winning football here, we'll all be happy. Still no Jaguars general manager, but the Jaguars have made a few other hires as well. And so I know at about 11:30 last night, the news was broken by the Jaguars about the new offensive coordinator. And then about probably 7 a.m. when most people were seeing the news this morning, the first thing everyone did was to make sure that they learned as much as they possibly could about Grant. And it feels like he is someone who is going to be an offensive coordinator, or was on track to be an offensive coordinator even when he was like 26 years old.
Right, and that's what Kevin O'Connell said in a conversation with Ben Gosling of the Star Tribune up in Minneapolis, who, by the way, just texted me back. And
sweet.
Hopefully he's going to join us tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So
yeah, great article.
He did an incredible profile of Grant, and I think it's important, too. We did reach out to, we've reached out to a couple different people in the Minnesota Vikings world, and hopefully we'll get all of them on to get as much as we possibly can about Grant Udinski. But it was funny because our good friend Tatum Everett, who of course is the team reporter, she said, like many assistants, Grant isn't necessarily made available to the media all that often. And so the fact that Ben had the foresight to put that profile together, to do that one-on-one with him, that's why I'm very excited to hear from him, because I think that's why there's been this, I don't want to say pushback, but this, from fans who want the old head, the tried and true, from people around the league who say, well, I don't know who that kid is. Well, once upon a time, Kevin O'Connell, outside of, yes, playing in the NFL, they didn't know who he was. There was once upon a time when no one knew who Sean McVay was. And I think that that's something we really have to wrap our heads around in Jacksonville. We have to understand, if you want young, progressive, like you've told us here on the Superstation, on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, the MyBookie Digital Studio, you've been saying it for years, you're going to have to be okay with being a little uncomfortable with someone who maybe hasn't done as many press conferences. Maybe our understanding of them and how they may be able to command a room is solely by a couple clips from Hard Knocks or in-house media doing behind-the-scenes videos.
Yeah, the famous quote from Kevin O'Connell was, as far as Udinski, it's like hiring someone that can build a car from scratch to work at the car wash. That's how incredibly talented he is and brilliant that he is. But yeah, I watched a podcast, an actual Seahawks podcast with Ben Gosling about this piece, because the Seahawks back around in like November were hoping to get Udinski. So those fans were all dialed into this. And basically he said that he was supposed to do this piece like a year earlier on Grant Udinski, but then things went awry with the Vikings season. And so he turned his attention to other things. But Kevin O'Connell kept asking him, when are you going to do this piece on Grant Udinski? And so that's obviously how highly thought of he is by Kevin O'Connell, a guy that I feel like we talked about a ton this season.
Definitely. And I think, too, to your point, Mia, when you're talking about the young guy, you have to take chances to find that guy. And it's scary. It's definitely, it's one of the things, because I think a lot of people find comfort in knowing that somebody has already done something and had success at something. But you go back on this long list of guys that we're talking about right now, and the people giving them the shots look like geniuses right now. So I think more so what holds fans back here is that the hires have not been the ones that people have loved or trusted, and they haven't worked out very well. So I think a lot of people are hesitant in more sense of like they haven't been able to find the right people before. What makes me feel like this is the right one, especially when we don't know much about these people. But I do think that sometimes you just have to take a step back. And like I said, we don't know what is going to actually transfer over to the football field right now. We don't know what this is going to look like. We don't know what level these guys are going to be. But all you can do is learn as much as you can about them and the people that have worked around them. And that's what we've been trying to do on this show now for a couple weeks, is talk to the people who have covered them, who have talked to them, who have coached with them, whatever the case may be. Because at this point, that's all you can do, is hope to find out as much about that person and what their strengths and weaknesses and what type of players they like. That's when you know a little bit more of how this team is going to be built in this offseason, or I guess continued to be built in this offseason.
In 2017, the statement around here, the phrase around here that was so popular was, "In Tom we trust," right? Because Tom Coughlin was brought back as the EVP of football operations. Now it's "In Tony we trust." And I believe that Tony Baselli has a ton of football knowledge and certainly a ton of contacts and has done a lot of networking over the past 20 years since he played. And so I feel good about the person that's not necessarily in charge of all of this, but certainly has a football mind to be able to evaluate the new head coach in Liam Cohen. And Tony is very high on Liam. And so that's all I can do is trust Tony, and therefore then trust Liam Cohen as well.
One quick note. Sorry, I got a text there. And we love you guys interacting on the text line, MyBookie Digital Studio. This one just came across, though, on my X feed from a popular Jaguars Twitter account. This is from @JaguarGator9NFL. And I believe it when this person says it. You are going to have to take me on my word at this one. One of my friends went to high school with Coach Udinski. Apparently, Udinski got mad at the friend because the friend would spoil the NFL Combine results while Udinski taped it and was going to watch it on DVR after class. This is the guy.
I love it.
I love it.
Yeah. By the way, NFL breaking news as far as Taylor's organization is concerned, the other one. Virginia McCaskey passed away at the age of 102 today.
Yeah.
And as I was telling you off air, Taylor, that's the third kind of sports death this week. We haven't mentioned it, but Tiger Woods' mom passed away earlier this week. He put out a statement on that. And then we found out yesterday through both Gary Smits and Eugene Fournette that Peter Kuchar, the head coach, he was a caddy for him, but the father of Matt Kuchar also passed away. He was on vacation with his wife celebrating their anniversary. So that one is another tough one. But yeah, Virginia McCaskey, what she's meant to the Bears, I'm sure is a ton.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously her dad was George Halas, who was a big part of why the NFL even exists in the first place. So I've always said like she would have been one of the most fascinating people to talk to think about. She was born in 1923.
Mm-hmm.
And so back to literally the beginning of football's existence, of when everything was being created, and she saw all of this. And then now she's, just passing away in 2025 is crazy to think of how much she saw football change, players change, the world change, everything. And so I always would think about that and she was at Bears games every single game. If it was 4 degrees, you'd see her out there getting wheeled in with her wheelchair, going to her suite to watch the game. She obviously loved that organization, and having that popping up, it's crazy. You're 102 years old, so it's kind of like you've lived a lot of life and seen a lot of things, but still just to have somebody like that who was kind of one of those final pieces of what started everything that we now have a job covering.
Yeah, absolutely. Some other NFL news. Former Jaguars defensive coordinator Ryan Nielsen is expected to join the Bills staff as a senior defensive assistant.
All right.
So Ryan Nielsen will not be a defensive coordinator anywhere, at least this season.
Jeremy Garrett, in case you missed it, the assistant defensive line coach for the Bears, now he is. Yeah. Now he's with the Bears, but formerly with the Jaguars, is also with the Bears. I mentioned I got a text, and you all leaned a little bit closer to your radios because you went, oh no, what news bomb did she get now? It actually is a text from our good friend, our friend of the program. You love him on the Superstation, Coach Campo.
Okay.
And Coach Campo, I had to double check that I could say it on the air. He wants to tell you all out there to relax.
Relax.
Because once upon a time, Dave Wanstad, Butch Davis, Dave Campo, Hubbard Alexander, Tony Wise, Joe Brodsky, no NFL experience. In 1989, all hired by the Dallas Cowboys. They won 3 Super Bowls.
Yeah. I heard them talking about that yesterday, and I'm trying to think of who said it. Maybe it was Matt Hayes who commented. It was like, you brought a lot of people who knew each other very well into one building. So that is a benefit. And I do think that's another thing that people worry about a little bit here. And I'm sorry, Campo. Thank you for telling everybody to relax. I'm not trying to turn that around, because I think sometimes you have to breathe a little bit. There's no need into like stressing about every single coaching hire, because you have to see how things play out. You really never know. But I do think that's another concern, is that people are like, okay, we're bringing all of these pieces that don't really have a ton of overlap with each other. Like Liam Cohen has these experience with certain people and certain people. But with that, you're bringing a whole group of guys who are very familiar with each other into a Dallas Cowboys organization. But that turned out well. And so I do think at some point we talk about this overturn of the quarterbacks in the last X amount of years, and how we had these we were talking about it yesterday, when you have the guys that I grew up watching, and a Ben Roethlisberger and a Tom Brady and a Peyton Manning and all of those guys, and then now it's getting to the point where all of them are out of the league. Drew Brees, everybody out of the league now, and you're having this new rush of young guys, and it's sometimes hard to fully embrace it, because you grow up a certain way following certain players and coaches and teams, and when that all feels like it's just completely new, it's hard to accept sometimes. And I do think we're in that world of coaching staff too. We're seeing these guys we're talking about Pete Carroll, who's he's still hanging on out there, but it is to the point where he's in his 70s, and so soon he's not going to be in the league. And there's a lot of these coaches like a Tom Coughlin. We're very familiar with these guys, and at some point it's going to completely turn. It's going to be all of these young guys that we're like, man, I remember when he was an offensive coordinator at blah blah blah, and now he has 7 Super Bowls with whoever. It's like, eventually that will be who we're covering. And so it is interesting to see we are in the midst of this big turn of the NFL, of kind of the olds, and I don't mean like just old people, but like the old, how we grew up, everybody who coached and played being gone, and now everything new taking over.
But people who watched the NFL in the 80s and 90s were probably worried about the turnover of quarterbacks from that age to the next age. And yeah, look at the ones you just rattled off and how talented they were. And I guarantee in 20 years, the Mahomes and Burrow and Allen and Jackson and maybe Hurts, throw him in there as well. Like everyone's going to be talking about like, what will we do when
Without
they're not
group of
right
guys,
when they're not playing anymore? And at that point, there will be another influx of youth. By the way, another NFL note, and this is wild to me that the NFL is going to play in Australia starting in 2026 each year. I feel like I want to say it's like a 20-hour plane ride.
Yeah. When I looked at it from here, it was saying 22 hours.
Okay,
so Melbourne.
A little bit less for the Rams because that's the team that, at least as of now, we know is going to play the first game in Australia in 2026. But so probably more like 19 hours, let's say 18 hours, something like that for the Rams. That's a very long plane ride, especially if it's in the middle of the season. And if they did something like how the Dodgers do as far as start
when they go
Japan,
right away,
and then they have a little break while the rest of the Major League Baseball catches up.
A pre-opening day.
Correct. Like that would make almost more sense to me if the Rams were to play in Australia, say in August, and then get a full week break because of that travel.
Yeah.
But I mean, everyone complains about the London trip.
That's what I was saying.
And that's what, 12 hours flight time? Like that's not even, I mean, it's just wild to me.
I know. And I tweeted about that yesterday because a few things popped up into my mind, but that we talk about teams having to adjust to London already and how much different what they have to change for their weeks, and we've seen some teams be like, oh, this works and this doesn't work, and here it is. So it takes all of this to even plan that trip, let alone to Australia. But then also, by the way, I can Google and I can also do math because I posted this, and the amount of people that are like, it's blah 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 hours, and I was like, that's not exactly what I mean, because I said, what time is this game going to even be played? And they're like, well, it's so and so hours from here. I'm like, I know that I could do the math. I just meant if we're doing it, if it's a noon game there, for example, it's going to be like 7 or 8 here. So is that a primetime game? Like, are they going to make that the primetime game for a Sunday or a Monday or a Thursday? Or are they going to do it at a different time and it's going to end up being like very late here or very early in the morning here? That is what more so I was saying, because it would be interesting to me to see how they end up playing that out. Or are they going to have like, here's your normal Sunday night primetime game and then here's a 7 p.m. for your Australian game?
It's 4:50 a.m. Friday, obviously, 4:50 a.m. in Melbourne, Australia right now.
Yeah.
So it is just going to be, I think, one of those things that, like I said, they're going to have to allow for more time to recover when you're
also
on a
player
plane.
safety. Yeah, sure.
Right, for almost 24 hours there and back. All right, we will turn our attention to the Super Bowl. When we return, we'll check in with NFL Network's Adam Rank on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
4 balls, 3 strikes, 2 teams, 1 winner. 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Dave Benyon with Zero Res. As the temps outside are warming up, so is Zero Res. Right now, it's the hottest price of the year. 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $147, and the 4th room is free. That's right, the 4th room is on me. Google Zero Res and see what people are saying. Zero Res has over 6,000 5-star reviews. Remember, February is the hottest price of the year for Zero Res. 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for $147, and the 4th room is free. Zero Res, spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Zero Res. Mia here for MyBookie. It's finally here. A game so big, we're not even supposed to say the name, where the Kansas City Chiefs take on the Philadelphia Eagles at the Caesars Superdome. Can you guess what game I'm talking about? It's not just the biggest game of the year, folks. It's the ultimate betting event. If you're not on MyBookie, you are missing out. All week long, I've been telling you about the amazing prop bets, from the color of the Gatorade that will be drenched onto the winning coach to the length of the national anthem. Let's also look at those more traditional picks, shall we? Currently, the Kansas City Chiefs are 1-point favorites over the Philadelphia Eagles. In basically a pick-em game, you can get both of those teams on the money line for negative points right now. The total is set at 49. What really makes MyBookie stand out, it's easy to win, whether you deposit with crypto or credit. Bonuses await, and a new loyalty program gives you cash back just for playing. Use promo code 1010XL and get your 50% sign-up bonus. Again, promo code 1010XL. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm dedicated to helping businesses manage risk, maximize opportunities, and move their company forward. Jimerson Burr attorneys are business-oriented lawyers, equally comfortable as community leaders, private transaction counselors, or courtroom advocates. If you have a legal issue of any kind affecting your business, contact the firm at 389-0050 or jimersonfirm.com.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist is now offering ortho walk-in appointments. If you have an immediate need for orthopedic care, contact Southeast Orthopedic Specialist immediately. Avoid ERs and urgent care waiting rooms. For more information, go to se-ortho.com.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Is your dog Team Rough or Team Fluff? It's officially Puppy Bowl season at Dogtopia Jacksonville Beach Boulevard. They're getting MVPs, most valuable pups, ready for the big game. Your dog deserves a tail-wagging day of fun, and Dogtopia's indoor playrooms are the perfect training ground for their game day moment. Get your dog in on all the action by visiting Dogtopia Jacksonville Beach Boulevard and St. John's Bluff. New to the pack? Enjoy a free day of daycare. Mention Puppy Bowl when booking to claim the offer.
Value or flavor? Price or taste? Why choose when you can get both with everyday deals at Sonny's? Right now, you can get the pork big deal for $10, the pork and rib combo for $12, and all you can eat ribs for just $19.99. Yep, you heard right. All your favorites are now available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
This is Hayes Carline for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. First Florida Credit Union was voted Best Credit Union in the 2024 Best of Bold City Community Choice Awards, and it's easy to see why. I go to the branch off 210 in St. Johns County and the new Durbin location, but they have 10 branches in the Jacksonville area. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Don't miss the big game specials at Southern Steer Butcher. Check out our website for the big game snack attack, party combo, sampler combo, and the best buffalo dip you've ever had.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
Hey guys, Taylor Dahl here of Helmets and Heels. Join us live next Wednesday, February 12th, noon to 2 at the new showroom of Renewal by Anderson off Beach in San Pablo. The Buddy Bus will be there along with food from Firehouse Subs. That's Wednesday, February 12th.
How likely is it to live to be 100 years old? The answer coming up.
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
In the United States, about 5% of women live to be 100, but only 1.8% of men.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When pests invade your home or business, you don't just need them out, you need them out fast. And you need to keep them out. At Terminix, they'll show up for you and eliminate pests quicker, just like they did at my house, because they care about what matters most to you. When pests show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a pest problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. That's right, Terminix it.
Holly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. The UNF men Ospreys look to continue their hot streak when they take on Bellarmine tonight. This will be the sixth meeting between the two teams, with North Florida leading the series 3-2. The Ospreys have 5 figures, averaging double digits per game, led by sophomore guard Josiah Miles. Tip-off will be at 8. You can catch the Frangie Show at the UNF Arena at 4. The JU Dolphins, who are coming off 2 straight losses and have fallen down to the middle of the pack in the ASUN rankings, are looking to get back into the winning column as they take on Stetson on the road tonight. Head coach Jordan Mincy on his guys' confidence.
It's huge. You know, our guys, they do a great job, especially during the break. Focus on our two-a-days, having prep, telling our young men to really challenge themselves, especially from a cardio standpoint. We wanted to feel like we wanted to be the best, most well-conditioned team in the league.
Hear the Dolphins and Hatters live on 1010 a.m. Tip-off at 7. It's 82 degrees at 12:58. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Light up your lunch with Helmets and Heels.
Presented by First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
When I was 6 years old, I broke my leg.
All right, welcome back. Let's continue on our talk about a lot of different things. We've talked a ton of coaching search, which that's kind of been the world in Jacksonville right now. But there is a football game on Sunday, a pretty big one. And several people are out in New Orleans on Radio Row, including our next guest, Adam Rank. He's a fantasy analyst for NFL Network, currently in New Orleans, enjoying Bourbon Street. So, Adam, thank you for joining us.
Oh, my gosh. What's up, Duval?
No,
Adam,
you know
how hard is it to do that?
It's Duval. Don't you know? Come on now.
Hey, what's up, Duval?
That was good.
It looked like a Saturday Night Live sketch.
It honestly
That's
did.
what I was hoping.
It honestly did.
Maybe he wanted to go viral for that way, and then get people to forget that he was hiding in the closet in the Jags facility, like he was upstairs at the Alpha Phi house or something. I don't know. Not that I have any experience with that, but listen, how's everybody doing?
We are doing great. That was a fantastic intro. We said, as that happened, we said, if he wins, that will be great. If he loses, it will be terrible and held against the Jags forever. But Adam, one of the recent things that have happened is something that I'm not too happy about. And there was a little switcheroo between the Jags and the Bears this offseason when it comes to the coaching staff, offensive coordinator Shane Waldron, now in Jacksonville as the passing game coordinator. And then Press Taylor leaves at the Jacksonville offensive coordinator job to Chicago for the passing game coordinator. But I shared my thoughts and kind of dislike on Shane Waldron in the first segment. But share your light on the Shane Waldron time. Do you think it will be much different? He's not an OC. He's not calling plays. So at least you can cross that part out.
Well, here's the thing is that the Jags fans, for whatever reason, listen, I'm a friend of Duval, so nobody should accuse me of like rooting against them or anything like that. But you guys were like so mean when we hired Press Taylor. It's like, dude, he's our passing game. We were trying to tell you like it's not that big a deal. He's the passing game coordinator. All he's going to be doing is getting coffee for people. It's not that big. It's not that big a deal. And what happens then is that you get hoist on your own petard. And now you've got Shane Waldron. It's like, oh yeah, like passing game coordinator, not a big deal, right? So I just think it's one of those things. Listen, these guys. That's what I always say. These guys don't truly ever get fired. You don't really lose your job. You work for one organization, of that being the NFL. You get transferred to different branches and being put into different responsibilities. Like, yep, I got to go head up our Jacksonville branch now. Going to be taking a step back and focusing more on the family, like that kind of stuff. So I think that, I know fans get upset with coordinators and everything like that. And I know that Press Taylor had his problems in Jacksonville. Shane Waldron had his problems with the Chicago Bears, but listen, they're not in any sort of responsibility. They're working the fry counter now instead of the drive-through. It's fine. Both teams are going to survive this. We're going to be okay. Let's just call a truce and move on from here.
Adam, I'm not going to lie. Once I knew you were coming on, and once I also saw that you were so kind, and I can't thank you enough for joining my alma mater, Ithaca College, on Radio Row at the Super Bowl yesterday. I know those students really appreciated it.
I was roasting them.
Yes, you were. I tried to be very professional about it, but yes, you were roasting them. We cannot thank you enough for the energy, the shot of energy you give us as we begin the 1 o'clock hour with Adam Rank of NFL Network. I do want to ask you big picture. We were just having the philosophical discussion. Some of our listeners are shocked at this. Some, they're in the camp of, why are the Jaguars going so young with their coaching staff? Where is the old head? We need experience. What say you about this interesting juncture, not just here in Jacksonville, but perhaps across the league that we find ourselves in, where the league has to go younger?
No, I appreciate the idea of going younger. And honestly, I credit the Khan family for trying to do whatever it takes to build a winning organization. You saw that I was on board. I thought Urban Meyer was going to work. I was as surprised as them that didn't work out. And then Doug Peterson comes in. You're like, okay, the guy won a Super Bowl. This should be great. And then unfortunately it's not working. So they're trying something else. They're not just trying to go through the motions, and they're bringing in the young guy, and everybody's going younger. But as you said, the one thing that we've seen make a lot of these younger coaches successful is having somebody on your staff who has been a head coach before, has called a timeout, who's the complexity of being the head coach is when you've been promoted from a coordinator position. And you look at what Wade Phillips has done for Sean McVay. You think about what Brian Flores has done for Kevin O'Connell. That's the one piece that I wish Jacksonville had. Like, I love the young staff. I think that go younger, connect with the players. I still really believe in Trevor Lawrence. He's going to be a great NFL quarterback. I think he is a great NFL quarterback. You need that. You need somebody there, though. Like, not like the supervisor, but like the adult in the room. And it's not something that has to be permanent. But at least through the first couple of seasons, as you get sorted, as you get your staff and your program rolling, you want somebody there just to have a little bit of leadership, somebody to lean on as the old, like talking to your bartender when you've got some troubles, something like that. That's the one missing piece, I think, for any coaching staff.
I'm not sure that all the Jags coaches can go to the bar at this point in time in the order.
Right, yeah. When they're old enough.
Yeah, they're definitely getting ID'd. Adam, you're in New Orleans ahead of Super Bowl 59, so I want to get to some of those storylines. We know the biggest two storylines as of now would be the Chiefs can be the first team to three-peat in the Super Bowl era, but also, of course, the Eagles and Saquon Barkley, the addition of him this past offseason and all that he's done for that Philly team. What are some of the other storylines as you walk around, Nola?
It's me trying to wedge the Bears into every conversation is the big storyline. I was just sitting there, like Seth Rollins was just talking to Max Crosby, and I pull out the phone and I start recording. I'm like, dude, are you recruiting him to Chicago? And then Seth is like, oh, good idea. Like fun little moment like that. But yeah, you know what? Radio Row, it is what it is. It's just like, it's so much fun. I was talking to a couple of the shows out here and just talking about this event, and it's just fun. Like, it's just fun seeing everybody and the calamity, the insane things that go on, watching Andrew Whitworth walking around with a giant Pepsi logo on his chest because he's got to promote this thing. Who was it? Chris Myers sits down and starts promoting these recovery sleeves. Like, I just love it. I love everything about it. I just think it's a cool event. And it's cool. And it's like, oh, yeah, there's a football. Like, yeah, sometimes you forget, like, oh, yeah, there's a football game going on. Like, I'm not part of the serious media that goes to the team hotel and sits down and asks a question about the too high blitz or anything like that. It's like, nope, I was there on Monday, asked Travis Kelce to shout out my AYSO team, and which he did, which was amazing. And yeah, I guess there is the game being secondary is always like a hilarious thing to me whenever you get deep into Radio Row.
Adam, when we are talking about that game, though, and I think Patrick Mahomes is the obvious answer for this, so I'm going to say outside of Patrick Mahomes, what do you think the X factor of this game is this weekend?
The biggest thing is, to me, is when you look at the roster that's been constructed by the Philadelphia Eagles, Howie Roseman has done a master class in roster building, and adding Saquon Barkley during the offseason was just the chef's kiss. And it's funny when you run into Eagles fans, it's like it's their third Super Bowl in 8 years, and you would think they've had a run like the Chicago Bears, like nothing has gone well for them ever. And it's like, you guys, you have a Super Bowl win. You're in your third appearance in less than a decade. You're fine. This is going on. And so you think like the Eagles are going to win this. But then when you just start thinking about the X factors of the coaching, Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, and I think Andy Reid, one of the things that's so great about him is that he's so well prepared for every situation, always seems to have an answer. When you think about that game against the Buffalo Bills, it's fourth down. The Bills need a big play, and then Spags throws out an exotic blitz that Josh has not seen yet, gets rattled, makes that. Well, I mean, it was a miracle. Nobody outside of, say, Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson gets out of that, doesn't get sacked, but makes it. And that's the brilliance of the Kansas City Chiefs, is always finding a way, and this is the thing, is everybody talks about, hey, they've won so many one-score games. It's like, yeah, you win in one-score games because you're good. If you're losing one-score games, you're the Tennessee Titans. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the difference between the good teams and the bad teams. So for me, I think the biggest X factor, it's not Xavier Worthy, it's not Saquon Barkley or Devontae Smith. I really think it's the coaching, and I think that's why I believe the coaching is going to push the Chiefs over the top here.
You can find him on X at Adam Rank of the NFL Network, as well as the Sick Podcast with Adam Rank, which you can find on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Okay, Adam, let's have a little fun with this. You're on Radio Row. There's crazy questions being asked. I'm doing my ad reads back here in Jacksonville about the color of Gatorade, the national anthem length. What is your favorite prop bet that you are playing? What's the craziest storyline that you are watching for Sunday's big game?
Well, it's always interesting to me, as you know, as a member of the National Football League, even though I am not allowed to place any sort of wagers or anything like that on the games or anything like that. But I'm always amazed by how much interest there is, because this came out in the stat packet too. Is like we have a information on the history of the coin toss. Like, hey, the Chiefs have called heads in 4 of the last 5, or the heads. It doesn't matter if you understand math. The coin flip's 50-50, regardless of what's happened in the previous 58. It doesn't matter, because this personal coin flip is 50-50. And as you sit here, and I can see the big Caesar's Palace here down the street, it's like the reason they have a building like that is that people believe that they can beat the game or beat the system or any of that stuff. So that's always fun to me. And the Gatorade color was hilarious. That one to me is fun, and it's just silly, and it's just a fun thing. So as everybody's sitting there sweating out, like, hey, can these teams combine for more than 25 points in the first half? It's funny to me that more people are focused in on the Gatorade color. Jameis Winston walking around the Superdome on Monday night, being like, hey, what's your favorite? Like, trying to get some intel. That is actually really legitimate. So I think that's my favorite one.
We do need your intel on Jameis, by the way, Adam, before we let you go. Like, we do need the Jameis. You know, we are Jameis. He doesn't know this, but we are the official
Jameis show.
Jameis show.
Is this the Jameis show of record? Okay.
Yes.
He is such a delightful person. I met him years ago, and I'm like, God, like, he is really, no wonder people love playing with him. Like, he is a really just a delightful human being.
Adam, before we let you go, there is a lot of people already starting to prepare for fantasy football teams. I know we have a dynasty league here at 1010XL that we just started this last year. So this is my first dynasty league draft that I'll be doing after this NFL draft, obviously. But I do want to ask you about one particular person, what you're hearing about the stock in Brian Thomas Jr. for this upcoming fantasy football season.
Yeah, that was a big one. I don't know if I'll ever live to regret this, because in my dynasty league this year, I had to choose between Brock Bowers and Brian Thomas Jr., and I ended up going up with Brock Bowers. And I don't know if I'll end up regretting that. I think the scarcity of the position might help me out down the road. But Brian Thomas Jr., to me, and I heard somebody make this comparison this week, was like, because Justin Jefferson was walking around, and somebody is just not even prompted or anything. Justin Jefferson's walking by. This dude's like, you know what? Like, I think Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be on that Justin Jefferson trajectory, especially starting this season too, if they can get that offense cooking. And I was like, you know what? That's not a bad call. And I really think the world of him. And if you went back, and not that you would, but in my mock draft that I wrote last year, my mock draft is never a predictions piece. It's like, this is what a team should do. And I remember listing the Jets as a team that should draft Brian Thomas Jr. because I'm like, dude, you guys, like, if you want to win games right now and you need another receiver to go along with Garrett Wilson, draft Brian Thomas Jr. Jets didn't listen. A bunch of people got fired. Okay. See what happens. Rank's right sometimes. But I think that's going to be a hot name, and obviously he's going in the first round in redrafts. So we're going to see a lot of buzz over the next couple of months for Brian Thomas Jr.
We love it, and he's also being joined by offensive coordinator Grant Udinski, who's coming from Minnesota. So we've got that Justin Jefferson kind of vibe over there. But Adam, we appreciate your time. I hope you enjoy the rest of your time in New Orleans. I know it's a lot of interesting things going on there.
A lot of great food, by the way.
Yes.
What's been the best meal so far?
But you're not going to believe this, but I walked into Lucy's, which was the bar that Drew Brees took the Lombardi Trophy into when they were doing their championship parade.
Nice. And
I'm like, hey, I told the bartender, I'm like, just pick whatever. And she gave me tacos. I'm like, really? I'm going to New Orleans for tacos? Was actually really good. So surprise upset of the week. So first upset of the week so far.
All right, Adam. Well, we appreciate you again, and have a good rest of your week.
Thank you so much. Wish you were here, but maybe we'll see you in San Francisco next season.
Yes. That's the spirit.
Yes.
That's the spirit. And again, our thanks to Adam Rank, who you can find on X at Adam Rank of the NFL Network, and go check out his podcast as well.
Mia's Midweek MyBookie picks are next. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
1010XL takes you behind the microphone.
Boy, thank God I've got this job to go to every day, or I'd really go crazy.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
I'm not going to quit my job.
The Drill.
I'm just going to do it better.
Mornings on 1010XL.
I9 Sports invites parents on the First Coast to log on and check out what they can offer with sports year-round. Spring and summer registration open right now. And with ages 3 to 7, there's something for everyone. i9sports.com. Enter 1010 in the promo code and get your kid in the game.
Lauren Brooks here. At Hodges Mazda, they're proud of their solid reputation in the Jacksonville community. As your hometown Mazda dealer, their high customer service standards and their huge inventory of both new and used cars provide their customers a consistently first-rate car buying experience. Their professional, non-commissioned sales team puts your best interest first without exception. And all new vehicle purchases include the Hodges Mazda Protection Package. Visit them online at HodgesMazda.com or stop in today to learn more and discover the Hodges Mazda difference.
Need or want cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash available. Ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. They need it all, selling or pawning. Get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
Hi, I'm Laura Renstrom, Vice Chair at the Players. We are proud to support the Clara White mission and their goal to prevent homelessness through advocacy, housing, job training, and employment. It's 33 days until the Players.
I'm Max Fink. Join me for the Gator Report on 1010XL as I break down the latest storylines in Gator Nation.
Put together by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators. 1010XL.
Go Gators! Roses are red, violets are blue. A broken pipe? That's no way to woo. This Valentine's Day, don't let plumbing or HVAC problems ruin the romance. Whether it's a leaky faucet, a backed-up septic tank, or a heater that's colder than your ex's heart, Duck Rooter is here to save the day. Our expert team will fix it fast and at a fair price so you can get back to the love you deserve. When you're stuck, call the Duck, 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckrooter.com.
No matter what the reason, sending a floral arrangement from Kuhn Flowers always works. For unique and special gifts, visit their showroom on Beach Boulevard. ET here with 1010XL. Kuhn Flowers is my go-to, and it should be yours too. Online at kuhnflowers.com.
When it comes to towing products, your safety is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. The big game is almost here, and it's now or never. Time to play and win with Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with more than 10 million active members. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch your winnings roll in. It's just that simple. And now Prize Picks is giving you a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. That's right, 1,000 times just for playing. If you know the game, you run the game. Prize Picks just keeps making it easier to play and win, including the flex play, where you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. That's right. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit and cash out as quickly as 15 minutes. Now, here's the best part. Prize Picks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy. That means your lineups stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. Download the Prize Picks app today and use promo code JAX, J-A-X, and get $50 instantly when you play 5. It's all there at Prize Picks. Run your game.
February is Cancer Prevention Month, and Ackerman Cancer Center will help you take charge of your well-being. Their new location at World Golf Village off I-95 now provides screenings for prostate, bladder, and colorectal cancers. Visit AckermanCancerCenter.com.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
Hammond, Valentine's Day is coming up. Got any romantic plans?
Dad, I'm married to Clean Air. My plan is to help Jacksonville families breathe easier.
You're helpless, but Clean Air does sound nice. Can duct cleaning really help?
Absolutely. Dust, allergens, even odors can build up in your ducts. Cleaning them now makes your air fresher and healthier for your family. The EPA says better indoor air quality can reduce health risk.
So cleaning ducts are like Valentine's Day gift for the house.
Exactly. Forget chocolates. Fresh air lasts longer and doesn't melt. Plus, we've got a February special, $100 off your total.
All right, sign me up. Maybe fresh air will make Mom fall in love with me again all over.
You'll have to take her to dinner for that, but cleaner air will definitely help.
Fair enough. Jacksonville, if you're ready to show your home some love, Google Zero Res and read over 7,000 five-star reviews. Zero Res.
Spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
CEROREC. Zero Res. 3D Digital has you covered for any of your business's digital marketing needs. From producing award-winning videos to getting those digital ads to follow your customers around the internet, our team has your back. Visit 3ddigital.com or give us a call at 904-712-4004 to schedule a free consultation today. 904-712-4004.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
All right, so tomorrow we'll take your suggestions. We've had too busy of a day to talk all things music today, but we'll take your suggestions, your recommendations for songs from artists who have either played at the halftime during Super Bowls or an artist you would want to see play during the Super Bowl halftime. Should we allow Taylor Swift suggestions?
Yes. Yes.
Or should we
because
just
because
pick
it's
those
it's an American tragedy, an international tragedy that she hasn't played yet. I have my own conspiracy theories as to when we will, in fact, get that Taylor Swift Super Bowl halftime show.
Not if the Chiefs are playing in a game.
No, if anything.
When Travis is going to propose.
That, number one. But no, number two, there is a sentiment, and I've read this and gone down many rabbit holes, that she's going to wait until, so long as her and Travis, stay together, get married, have kids, all that stuff, maybe like 10 years from now, when she's like, okay, the kids are, at least like no longer toddlers. Like, I'm ready to not go back on the road, but maybe open up a show in Vegas or some sort of limited tour of some kind. And so I'm going to kick it off at the Super Bowl. That's the working theory I've seen when I have dared to go down the Swiftie world rabbit hole. Is the thought is she's going to wait until she needs to bring herself back into the American lexicon.
I have a friend who is a diehard Eagles fan. I've told y'all about her before. She and her family have Eagles tattoos. They got them after the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2017, and also a diehard Swiftie fan. So I need to find out what her philosophy is because she can tell you all things Taylor Swift. She's seen her multiple times over the last few years. I know it will certainly be excited if ever Taylor Swift does perform at the Super Bowl, but also especially if the Eagles win on Sunday. All right, time now for Mia's Midweek MyBookie picks.
Now, Mia's Midday MyBookie picks. Experience the Vegas thrill from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
I've heard from many of you that you see my picks and you immediately fade them. So one way or another, I am happy to make you some money on this fine Thursday. RJ,
it's like the Oppo Joe thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's Oppo Joe.
Mia.
Right, exactly. You can go Oppo Taco. I love tacos. RJ, let's begin in the association, not only with this week's pick from the NBA, but also we have yet to discuss additional trades in the NBA in the wee hours of the night. Jimmy Butler is on the move to the Golden State Warriors. Meanwhile, Dalton Connect, part of a package shipped to the Hornets for Mark Williams, ? The Lakers gave up more picks for Mark Williams than they did for Luka Doncic. Before I give you today's pick, RJ, what do you make of all this chaos over the last 16, 17 hours?
NBA is a different world now.
And it just seems to me that a lot of more people are interested at the trading deadline than they have been this entire season. But to see as many all-stars as we have move, and now we'll be calling different places home. And according to Shams Charania, NBA teams are still making aggressive calls for Kevin Durant. NBA teams have until 3 o'clock, so could we see more on the way? It's definitely going to be interesting next couple of hours.
I am very excited to see not only the drama to continue to unfold, but also the aforementioned Los Angeles Lakers and Golden State Warriors tonight. No Luka yet? Question mark, RJ? I saw the LeBron cryptic post. Is there a chance he plays before the All-Star break?
If there is, it's going to be on Saturday. If not Saturday, Monday.
Okay. Well, no Luka, but either way, I am rolling with the Los Angeles Lakers to cover a 7-point spread against the Golden State Warriors this evening. How about some college basketball? I've got one from the men's ranks, one from the women's game, and both of them are close to home. You can get the JU Dolphins taking on Stetson tonight. You can get them a 9.5-point favorite right now at MyBookie. Yes, the rare JU or UNF line has popped off. Go on over, get Jordan Mincy and the Finns, especially Taylor and Lauren, knowing that they're coming off of not only a hard-fought River City Rumble loss. They did blow a 24-point lead when I was on the call. Water is wet, regression to the mean. I think the Dolphins get it done by 10 tonight. So give me JU to cover that 9.5-point spread. I am also, this is where I go out on a limb a little bit because Lord knows I've taken the underdog to cover the spread in a couple games this year on the women's hardwood and has not panned out for me. Georgia is a 30.5-point underdog against South Carolina tonight. I like what the Dogs have built over the last few years, and that is not just because, their head coach is from Iowa. It's not just because Katie Henderson is from Iowa. It is because I do believe in what they've built. I know not exactly world beaters in the SEC, which is certainly, I guess, more than a two-team race now, given the Oklahoma and Texas arrival in the SEC, given Kenny Brooks and what he's been able to build at Kentucky. But give me the Dogs, cover 30.5, plus, no offense, but Dawn Staley and company, I love them. They're going to win this game. They haven't really played with fire in a little bit, so give me the Dogs to give them a little bit of a scare tonight. Hey, never say I didn't do anything nice for you, Heeligans. I've got a soccer pick. I don't even know if RJ's got music for this one. I'm going to take Liverpool to cover a 1.5-goal spread this afternoon against Tottenham Hotspur. Come on, you Reds. You can indeed get Premier League lines, international soccer, Italian League, Serie A. They're all there. Head on over to mybookie.ag and you can check them out right now. And one more for you all. In my estimation, and this is from the world of golf, the Waste Management Open in Phoenix, in my estimation, with all due respect to the tournaments in Hawaii, with all due respect to the Pebble Beach Pro-Am last week, this is the official start. Outside of the players, if you really are in the weeds of golf, the Waste Management Open is not only the biggest party of the year, but it's the first event that if you're looking to watch some golf, this is the one you pay attention to. And I'm going to go with a somewhat long shot in this one. He finished second 3 years ago now, I forget, at this same event at TPC Scottsdale, and that is Sahith Theegala. Go Sahith! He is currently plus 3,900 to win the tournament this weekend out in the desert. Give me Sahith. Unfortunately, you can't put that as part of your parlay, but if you want to place all 5 of those bets independent of each other, you certainly can. Some movement, actually, while I've had my bookie pulled up on my web browser, folks. Hideki Matsuyama has surged into the 3rd best odds at plus 1,100, so perhaps that's some play that you want to make heading into the weekend. So to recap again, Sahith Theegala plus 3,900 to win the Waste Management Open. The Los Angeles Lakers to cover a 7-point spread against the Golden State Warriors. JU to cover a 9.5-point spread against Stetson this evening. Georgia to cover a 30.5-point spread, although not win, in women's basketball, going up against Dawn Staley's Gamecocks. And Liverpool minus 1.5 against Tottenham Hotspur.
I just learned that the Super Bowl halftime performers don't get paid.
No.
Yeah, I don't remember.
It's all about the brand.
I always thought that they at least got some sort of appearance fee, even though the NFL does cover all the costs for the actual performance. So I wonder who's been the most expensive. I'm sure I can figure that out in the break. But all right, we've got one segment to go. I'll give you our Terminix Pest of the Day on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Your home for Gators Hoops is 1010XL.
Number 6 and number 1. Florida fights for some chart action in Auburn. Gators Tigers, Saturday at 4 on 1010XL.
Mia here for MyBookie. It's finally here. A game so big, we're not even supposed to say the name, where the Kansas City Chiefs take on the Philadelphia Eagles at the Caesars Superdome. This isn't just the biggest game of the year, it's the ultimate betting event. If you are not on MyBookie, you are missing out on the action. Big game betting with MyBookie goes beyond just picking the winner. We've got all the wild props for this epic showdown. Will it be heads or tails for the coin toss? What color will the Gatorade for the drenching of the winning coach be? Even the length of the national anthem are up for bets at MyBookie. They love giving you options to bet on everything. Make it easy to win and even easier to get paid with MyBookie, whether you deposit with crypto or credit. Bonuses await. And our new loyalty program gives you cash back just for playing. Bet on big game boosted parlays, live betting, and jackpots that can turn small bets into big wins. Why just watch when you can own the big game? Sign up with MyBookie now using promo code 1010XL and get your 50% sign-up bonus to kick things off. Bet anything, anytime, from anywhere with MyBookie.
Jacksonville, get ready to spice up your night at One Night Taco Stand. Every Taco Tuesday, enjoy their mouth-watering tacos for just $2.99 and get your weekend started with 2-for-1 house margaritas. Find fresh Mexican street food, stiff drinks, and fun vibes at One Night Taco Stand with 3 Jacksonville locations in Mandarin, Orange Park, and Southside at Bay Meadows.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
Start your Saturday with a whiff of the great outdoors.
Captain Kevin Favor here with Captain Kirk and Jeff Lagerman, and we bring you the fresh air of the great outdoors.
On the Nimnit Outdoors Show, presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning on 1010XL.
Dave Benyon with Zero Res. As the temps outside are warming up, so is Zero Res. Right now, it's the hottest price of the year. 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $147, and the 4th room is free. That's right, the 4th room is on me. Google Zero Res and see what people are saying. Zero Res has over 6,000 5-star reviews. Remember, February is the hottest price of the year for Zero Res. 3 rooms of carpet clean for $147, and the 4th room is free. Zero Res, spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
Are you an experienced chiller technician and looking for a role where your skills are truly valued? It's time to make the move to Local 234, plumbers, pipe fitters, and HVAC technicians. You'll get top pay, comprehensive health and welfare benefits for your family, and a pension that doesn't come out of your pocket. Join the team that's got your back. Local 234, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit UA234.com to send your resume today.
Equal opportunity employer.
You waited forever for your new fence. Then, strangers show up. Subcontractors rushing the job. Sent by the company you trusted. Frustrating, right? Superior Fence and Rail promises better. Their professionally trained builders deliver quality you can trust. No subcontractors, no shortcuts. Just the superior craftsmanship your home deserves.
When you're on the fence, about the fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Discover the difference that local expertise makes at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Visit their showroom at the Avenues and browse high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness at First Coast Lighting and Fans.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees, about $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 15th.
Inc. Divorce, menonly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to divorcemenonly.com. Divorcemenonly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
You don't have to be a football star to get a signing bonus. The team at Republic Services needs your skills, and they're paying up to $5,000 for you to join the roster. You'll be joining a winner. As an essential business, the Republic Services trucks have not stopped rolling with hourly and weekly pay and better benefits and vacation packages than the rest of the league. Driver trainees, $1,000 sign-on bonus. CDL drivers, $3,000. Diesel mechanics, $5,000 bonus. Join the winning team at Republic Services today. Visit republicservices.com.
Equal opportunity employer.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
One bit of NFL news that we did not get to. Rick Spielman. I was about to say Rick Stroud. No, not Rick Stroud, although he did tweet something else that we haven't gotten to that we may circle back to here in this final segment. Rick Spielman, the former general manager of the Minnesota Vikings, and now, of course, with the 33rd team and CBS, appears to be leaving the world of media because he has taken a senior advisor role in the New York Jets front office. Now, mind you, Rick was part of the 33rd team football search committee that helped identify both Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji as the head coach and general manager, respectively, of the New York Jets. I love this tweet from Nick on X. He tweets at Pete Prisco, "You are losing all of your co-hosts," to which our friend Pete says, "I set my students free when they know enough football. They owe me."
Yeah, I know Pete well enough, and I've gotten to meet Rick through Pete. I know that Rick is, he's probably not on Twitter, so he didn't probably actually see that. But if someone were to show that to Rick, he would laugh his behind off because
it's fantastic.
Obviously, Pete always acts like he knows the most football of anyone in the room. And he obviously knows, too, that there are people that know more. But it's a running joke.
It's a running joke.
They're really good friends. And so, yeah, I'm sure that it'll be a little tricky for Pete to not have a new co-host. But, yeah, they're so funny when it comes to things like that.
This is a little bit off topic, but when we're talking about all these hirings, do you think the Saints fan base is starting to be like, what the heck? And I know it's looking like Kellen Moore. It looks like that's the direction they're heading. But it's February 6th, and you don't have a head coach at this point. The combine's in 3 weeks.
Yeah, to me, the bigger thing is...
Because then the rest of the staff also has to be formed, by the way.
I can
the
tell
bigger thing is that they don't have a quarterback. That's where...
Yeah.
And
they don't
have
have
terrible,
anything right
They have terrible cap room. Yeah, they don't have... But that would be my bigger thing is... Even if you get Kellen Moore, who is going to be your franchise quarterback with Kellen Moore? That would be my concern.
I agree with Lauren because I can tell you Kellen's been working, or at the very least Kellen's representation as he prepares for the Super Bowl has been working behind the scenes. And so that's where if you're Liam Cohen, if you are Ben Johnson, if you're any of these other number of new head coaches or even current coaches that are looking to fill vacant positions on your staff, you got 3 days. You got 3 days to lock them up because once Monday afternoon hits, Kellen Moore is going to be officially, not only in my estimation, signing the dotted line, but obviously that's the expectation, I think, across the league. But he also has an army with him that he has lined up, and he is ready for them to sign on the dotted line, too. And so I think, if anything, like Lauren said, the quarterback position, to be certain, is the bigger question mark in New Orleans right now. And B, I think if you are one of these other teams, the clock's ticking. Get her done.
Yeah, and I think that, too, for the quarterback thing, and I know they're probably, like I said, you don't have a coach right now. You don't have any coaching staff. You don't have a quarterback. There's cap issues there. There's a lot of problems in New Orleans. So
and
I think
if Kellen says no?
I know. That's why I was like, what happens if he's like, nah, actually, I don't really like that.
Hey, Dennis Allen, who we fired, can you go back?
Yeah, never mind. Nope, he's already signed his contract. But yeah, and I think I'm wondering how much they're looking because I was talking to a few people about this yesterday about the quarterbacks who could / are available for this off season for maybe some of these teams who just want some sort of bridge quarterback. And you're talking about a Russ, you're talking about a Justin Fields, you're talking about a Kirk Cousins, you're talking about a Jameis Winston. I feel like I'm missing a couple, but there's some out there that I feel like organizations will be comfortable with signing one of those guys to come in and just be a bridge guy if that's what they're looking for until they kind of you get into a draft to where you can get another one.
The Saints pick 9th. Is it possible
That's what
that one of the better quarterbacks
Do
is
they like
available
one
there?
enough? Like,
could the Saints take Jackson Dart? I mean, I'd rather have
There's
Jackson.
people thinking he may come into the top 10, so maybe that's the mystery.
I'd rather have Jackson Dart than Derek Carr. Again, no offense to Derek Carr and his family.
What
I
do
don't
you
have
do
it
with
out
him?
for them, but
are you going to like ship him off? Or for a
who
bag of
wants
peanuts?
him?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
They're going to just release him and then let him sign for the vet minimum somewhere. Like, I guess that's the other option.
I mean, I guess if you're going to have to pay him, you would just keep him as the backup, or you start Derek Carr. It's a wasted season, and you groom Jackson Dart and you sit him the way that Patrick Mahomes sat behind Alex Smith, although I think Alex Smith is a much better quarterback to learn from than Derek Carr. Yeah. But yeah, I certainly think Saints fans have seen the writing on the wall for several years now that their cap situation is not good and the direction their franchise is heading is also not good.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a rough little bit. And obviously they didn't want Derek Carr in the first place either. It's not like Saints fans were hoping to get
They're
him.
like, oh, thank God we got Derek Carr.
Right, exactly. And I mean, there are situations that we've certainly talked about, like a Sam Darnold to the Vikings, where Vikings fans probably didn't want him either after they lost Kirk Cousins. And yet things ended up
Working out, yeah.
Yeah, things ended up going a lot better than people would have expected, although the season ender for them, the Vikings, didn't, go according to plan. They lost early in the playoffs. All right, time now for the Terminix Pest of the Day. Terminix handles the pest control for all of your favorite event venues, whether it's Daly's Place, whether it's Everbank Stadium, One-to-One Financial Ballpark, the home of the Jumbo Shrimp, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, and more. They handle the pest control at my house, and they can handle yours as well. Visit them online at Terminix.com, Terminix.com. Today's pest of the day, Buckeyes fans.
Oh.
Buckeyes fans because...
After Tim B just made such a nice tweet about us, you're going to play him like that, Lauren? Come on now.
Here's the reason. Because they had Ryan Day on the hot seat ahead of this season because Ohio State couldn't beat Michigan. Yet they almost never lose outside of that game. And then, of course, yet again, Ryan Day can't beat Michigan this year. Buckeyes fans absolutely wanted him gone. Then he turns around, he wins the national championship, so they get exactly what they wanted all along. And today he signs the 7-year extension for about $12.5 million a year, making him the second highest paid coach in college football behind only Kirby Smart. So Buckeyes fans continue to get what they want, and that annoys me.
I know. It's funny because I do go back to the end of this, well, let's say preseason, and when we were having a lot of the college football analysts on, every single one of us pretty much asked, is Ryan Day on the hot seat if he loses to Michigan this year, when you were expecting Michigan to obviously struggle, which they did this year, and they lose their head coach, they lose J.J. McCarthy, all of these things, and then you're like, okay, they have the defense, but what's beyond that? And so this has to be the year that Ryan Day gets that game back. And he doesn't, but then he wins the national championship, so you can't really do anything with that. But it's funny because I was thinking about this last night, and I'm like, the two of the coaches that had a ton of criticism within the first few weeks of the season, Ryan Day and Nick Sirianni. One just won the national championship and one's in the Super Bowl. And that kind of, to me, shows that sometimes, let's relax a little bit and be a little patient, because I do think that it gets frustrating. And we've talked about the other ones with a Mike Tomlin and a Shanahan and some of these other guys that, for whatever, a John Harbaugh, that fans start to freak out about. But it's not easy to get to these games. It's definitely not easy to win these games. But when you have a coach who has the winning record that a Ryan Day and even a Nick Sirianni have, I feel like you have to take a breath sometimes. And I know you don't want to lose to Michigan. I get it. It's been 1,000-something days or whatever the number is since you've beat Michigan, but you have a natty now, and now you get Ryan.
You
Day.
heard Adam rank. It's the same thing with the Eagles fans, like you just said, Taylor. You would think that they never win anything, that they've been cellar dwellers forever, and they're never going to win. And they have won a Super Bowl and been to now 2 others in the last 8 years. Yeah. And I would say the same thing about Ohio State. And yes, there are those of you who will say that's because our standard is that much higher, and I respect that.
Yeah.
At the same time, I don't remember, and maybe, yes, they are different cats, to be clear. I don't remember this constant, we need to fire him conversation about Urban Meyer when he was at Ohio State. They were talking about firing him for, some transgressions
other things
away from the football field. Jim Tressel, yes, I was too young to remember that, but I do know that, obviously, through studying history, yes, there were fans that said he's not at the standard that we need to be. That's why we need to make a change. And obviously they hedged their bet, and it paid off in the hire of Urban Meyer, who led them to a national, or rather, no, Tressel. I'm doing the math in my head. Tressel, then Urban, or was there somebody in between? Am I messing?
I think there was someone in between.
There was someone in between. Either way, eventually it did lead you to that national title in 2014. So I'll give you that. But yeah, it's so hard because I want to say the standard is the standard, but also I feel like we poke holes in those two guys, and maybe it's just their personalities, but it's rather fascinating. So great pest of the day, Lauren.
Well, thank you. So the interim was Luke Fickell, and then it was Urban. So Fickell, who then went on to be the Cincinnati coach. But there's also a difference in there wasn't social media in and around the time that Tressel, for instance, he was the head coach at Ohio State from 2001 to 2010, the way it is now. Everything nowadays, whether it's Liam Cohen's Duval, like everything goes viral if it's positive or negative. And certainly Ohio State not beating Michigan for the fourth straight season created this wildfire of fans. And I understand that in that moment, if you thought you weren't making the playoff, then you are furious. But the way that the 12-team playoff works is, yes, you didn't beat them and your offense looked atrocious, but yet Chip Kelly was then able to fix your offense, certainly moving forward and be much more pass happy, because that's how you should be when you have a guy like Jeremiah Smith, by the way.
And you could almost argue like you might want to thank Michigan, because Michigan showed them what they needed to change offensively to be able to win it all, and you saw them take directly what Michigan kind of did to them in that game and change it, and everything they did in the playoffs after that, their offense was unstoppable.
Tapa on the MyBookie Digital Studio says, I think Chip Kelly had more to do with the national championship, and we will see next year. I tend to agree with that. By the way, I don't know if they're...
I think it was the playmakers that they paid $20 million.
Also that, I would agree. We have had several submissions on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, 641-1010. Making the argument, I'll read this one from 903, that today's pest of the day is pretty rich considering Gator fans wanted Billy's head to roll in favor of Lane Kiffin until the Gators beat Ole Miss.
Lauren
not
did not,
all Gator fans, yes.
Lauren did not. I will say that.
I never pressed the panic button. I just said, let's wait and see what happens. And yes, I understand Florida lost to Miami and then by a lot, and then lost to Texas A&M by a lot early in the season. I get that. But wait and see. And I multiple times said, what if Billy Napier's Florida team beats Lane Kiffin's Ole Miss team? And that's exactly what happened. And Billy Napier goes into the same category as far as on the hot seat, and then with the hardest schedule.
I do think it's a little different because Billy Napier also, I think what Billy Napier, Florida's done recently compared to what Ohio State has done recently is also very different.
Ryan Day's 70-10.
Yes.
But Billy Napier had the hardest schedule of any team in the country. Some people said the hardest schedule that's ever existed in all of college football, and still was able to win 8 games, obviously, including the bowl game. I want to circle back before we get out of here today. The fact that the Jaguars do have an offensive coordinator in Grant Udinski. He is a 29-year-old coach. He comes from the Vikings. He was the assistant offensive coordinator and the assistant quarterbacks coach for the Vikings. Everything that we've read says that, and heard and researched says that he is going to be a very innovative offensive mind that's going to work really closely with Trevor Lawrence, albeit not the quarterbacks coach, obviously, here, but as the offensive coordinator here. So he'll work a lot with Liam Cohen, a lot with Trevor, and that this offense is going to be one of the, obviously the most youthful, but also one of the most innovative in all of the country. And then tomorrow we'll check in with someone who wrote a piece on Grant Udinski.
Yes, we are very, very excited to have our good friend Ben Gessler come on with us. And he, of course, wrote the great expose of Grant Udinski, Gessling, excuse me. He wrote the great expose about Grant Udinski that, as you noted, Lauren, that he's noted on a couple podcasts, Kevin O'Connell asked him to write this piece. And so
when are you going to write the piece about Grant?
Yeah, if that doesn't tell you A, how Kevin O'Connell feels, or B, the insight we're hoping to get tomorrow, and why you should come on back and tune in for more, I'm not sure what does. A couple other notes from the Jaguars coaching hires. They did hire John Van Dam as a pass game specialist. I wanted to make the differentiation, ladies. You can have a pass game specialist and a passing game coordinator on the same coaching staff. That has become a much more practiced staff building exercise, especially within the Sean McVay tree. Liam Cohen had a pass game specialist and a passing game coordinator last year. Sean McVay does every year. Kevin O'Connell does every year. So it's not to say that, oh my goodness, they're getting too many cooks in the kitchen. There's too many hands in the cookie jar. What they do is that by having so many different titles, quote unquote, or at least having more people around, each of those coaches is assigned third down, red zone offense, 2-minute offense, and that is their specialty. And so by having so many folks, you can divide and conquer and really hone in on certain situations.
Van Dam was the Bucks tight ends coach. The contract expired, so he's able to come here. That's the first of the Bucks assistant coaches that Liam Cohen's able to get. And then Taylor's favorite move of the day, former Bears offensive coordinator Shane Waldron will be the passing game coordinator here in Jacksonville. Of course, we know Press Taylor took that role with the Bears. Yeah. So you just are going to be in the stadium, Everbank Stadium, with signs, "I love you, Shane."
No, I definitely will not. Yeah, I went on my rant earlier if you missed it. There's a lot of things, and I will, like I said, in the same light of the Press Taylor news, and I didn't like that either. I gave the Bears crap about signing him too, but I do think that it's different. It's a different world when you're talking about a passing game coordinator and an offensive coordinator who was calling plays. Like, those are drastically different things. So even for myself, I'm saying relax. It just scares me because of a lot of the things I heard in the background of how there was a lot of issues between him and wide receivers and him and quarterbacks.
I also do want to note, courtesy of our friend Rick Stroud, because while Taylor's pest of the day is the weird Shane Waldron, Press Taylor dichotomy.
Can I get a break, please?
Yeah, she's kind of sick of that. My pest of the day remains the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs did promote Kevin Carberry to run game coordinator in addition to being the offensive line coach, and so all but assuring that he is not on his way to Jacksonville. And assistant offensive line coach Brian Picucci, who of course is essentially Liam Cohen's uncle, he coached him at UMass. He followed him to Maine. He followed him to Kentucky. He followed him to Tampa. He was not allowed to interview for a position with the Jaguars. He has been promoted to the full-time offensive line coach role.
So that's what, honestly, when we were talking about that, whenever that news broke with that they blocked that interview, I was going to say I have a feeling they're just going to promote a bunch of people from within, from coordinator and up, and that's probably one of the reasons they don't want him to go, and they've probably had that conversation with him. Like, hey, we have a position in mind. You just got to give us a second. So I had a feeling that was coming because I didn't think they were just trying to, like I said, I'm petty and I will do stuff like that, but I didn't think they were fully on. I think there was a little bit more of a mindset than just trying to, like, hurt Jacksonville Jaguars.
Since we chatted with Adam Rank, who's in New Orleans for the Super Bowl, I'll give you this stat. Patrick Mahomes, when he throws the ball within 2.75 seconds, within 2.75 seconds, here are his stats. Patrick Mahomes is 39-1, 98 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 288 passing yards.
My goodness.
So
I was about to, we could have probably just said when Patrick Mahomes throws the ball and end it there.
True.
Some crazy
True.
number.
But yeah, when he can get rid of it quickly, obviously good things happen. Let's check in with XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
Matt, I hate that the Buckeyes just get everything that they wanted, which is the national championship, and now Ryan Day secured for the long haul when, of course, they wanted him fired before the season and also on November 30th.
Why do you gotta hate?
I hate Ohio State.
Why?
Don't you know that?
No, but why? I've never understood Florida fans' hatred of Ohio State. Never.
Yeah, I guess it goes back to, even though the Gators were victorious in the 06 national championship and the 07 men's basketball national championship, it's still like they think they're better than us because they use the Ohio State University, I suppose. There's a ton of Ohio State fans that didn't go to Ohio State, and I know people can say that about Florida too. But they're obnoxious, and I don't like them.
Did the urban thing factor into that too?
And yes,
I think they stole your coach. Yeah, that's what it was.
And
But they didn't really steal him.
They didn't steal him, but Urban,
skulked out of town.
Urban always said
Lied
that
to you guys.
Notre Dame was the one school that was his
Welcome
dream
to the
school,
world,
and Notre Dame was not the school that Urban won a national championship at. It was Ohio State, and he knows that Florida fans don't like Ohio
Come on,
State.
he had health problems. Come on.
He may
His
have
heart.
had health problems that then he was perfectly fine in order to coach again. So
It's 11 months. We can get better in 11 months. Men are like that.
Yeah,
Get better quickly.
They're also liars.
I refuse to comment.
Matt, I know you've written a ton of college football stuff on USA Today stuff that I also wanted to point out, or the article I also wanted to point out was how college spring practice should go away, the spring games should go away. I hate that. I understand it, but I hate that as far as my fandom's concerned.
I just want to say that Taylor Dahl just came in with a bat right there. You know
She
that,
did.
right? Like literally with a bat.
Well, yesterday
I'm
was
trying to get
National
you to talk about
That was brutal.
National
man.
Women in Sports Day. We were playing Dawn Staley and Lisa Bluter on Tuesday.
I had
so-
nowhere to go there, man. That car was coming right at me, and there was nothing I could do there.
I was trying to help get you back to college football. Never mind. What's coming up?
To your point, we're going to talk about the Jags in college football.
Yeah.
But to your point, I think the spring practice, it's more about just following the NFL calendar. Just have a few days of OTAs, have a mini camp, then extend your training camp. My whole point with that, a bigger issue with that for me was, how has the NFL gotten away with 70, 80, 90 years of free player development? Free. So college sports are all now, the big thing now is revenue. How are we finding revenue? The revenue is right there in the NFL.
Sure.
You just say, you cannot come to our practices, you cannot talk to our coaches, you cannot see our game film, our all 22 game film. You can't do anything. Can't talk to the players, nothing, unless you pay us.
I like it. NFL's got plenty of money, including Goodell's salary as well. All right, thanks, Matt.
All right.
And yes, all men are liars, according to Taylor Dahl. That's how we're ending today's show. For Taylor Dahl, for Mia O'Brien, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow live from JU for the women's lacrosse match against Michigan right here on 10 to Next 92.5.